Will the Mind Flayer be in Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 2? The Mind Flayer is the ruler of the Upside Down, the very thing that's been wreaking havoc in Hawkins for the past 4 seasons, and we didn't really get an inclusion in Season 4 Volume 1. This led me to think and theorize about if the Mind Flayer is going to appear in Volume 2 of Season 4, so let's jump into it. Here is Will the Mind Flayer be in Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 2? Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The Mind Flayer is the main villain of Stranger Things and is considered to be the ruler of the Upside Down. The origins prior to the gate being opened is something that's relatively unknown. We've seen multiple versions and iterations of the Flayer over the course of the 4 seasons that we've been given. We've seen it in visions and drawings depicted as what is described as the Shadow Monster, which is the most familiar and true to how it was first shown to us. It stands incredibly high and sits within the Upside Down, almost as the personification of darkness. It has a spider-like body with multiple arms coming out of it. We've also had it in the form of a human host. One of the most familiar was with Billy. Within Season 3, it claimed Billy and used him as a host as a way of luring other people to the Flayer, claiming them, and also being able to communicate in the real world, something it was previously unable to do. And we also had the Spider Monster and the Hospital Monster. The Hospital Monster was a form that was earlier on before it transformed into the Spider Monster later on in the show, highlighting that there is not one true form to the Mind Flayer, and if it's destroyed physically, then it is still able to live on. The last true form of the Mind Flayer that we had was in Season 3 when it took the form of the Spider Monster and killed Billy whilst causing devastation at the shopping mall. The form of the Flayer in this instance was made up of many of the victims that it had claimed over the years, which ranged from pests all the way up to the humans that it had claimed. We saw the Spider Monster defeated at the end of Season 3 once the gate was closed, which leaves one thing. Where was the Mind Flayer and what was it doing in Season 4 of the show? Well, throughout Season 4 Volume 1 we had Vecna and the origin story of the character, how he was Henry Creel, how he then became number 1, and then also how he transformed into Vecna once he entered the Upside Down. We saw the transformation happen instantly, and I think there's a specific reason as to why. In a previous season, we saw the Flayer communicate with Eleven, stating how it was going to end Eleven, end her friends, and then end it all. This was aligned with the viewpoint that Henry Creel had when he was living in his world amongst the humans. He was against the construct of time, and the mundane lives that people wanted to live, and he was using his powers to wipe people out, albeit on a smaller scale. But his intention was to make a better world. This is something that was aligned with the Flayer's views, and therefore allowed it to recruit Henry Creel as Vecna, where we then saw him act as the 5-star general to the Flayer, to quote Dustin, and carry out the plans on the surface throughout Season 4 Volume 1. Vecna has the ability to open gates, which is something the Flayer doesn't. Whenever Vecna claims a victim, a gate gets created and thus another pathway into the Upside Down and the real world is formed, allowing the Flayer to release Demogorgons, or aim to lure an individual there, so it can then act as its host like we saw with Will and also Billy in previous seasons. Both Vecna and the Flayer need each other. We saw Vecna had control over the Upside Down to a certain degree, in the sense that he would connect to the tentacle vine-like organisms that would allow him to connect to the real world and claim victims, which in turn made Vecna stronger. It's aligned with the Mind Flayer's overarching vision and also made the Flayer and the Upside Down stronger as well. We didn't see the Flayer appear in any of the episodes in the show, as Vecna was carrying out all of the work for it. Usually we see what would be considered the Shadow Monster in the Upside Down when people are there, but we didn't see that make an appearance at all either. A question to this could be answered in the Season 4 Volume 2 teaser trailer. In the trailer we witnessed Murray and Hopper as they were on their way out of the prison that Hopper had spent the past year locked in, and they stumbled across a room which looked like it contained subjects that the Russian scientists had been testing on. There was a Demogorgon that looked like it was being contained in some form of liquid or was taxidermied, but more importantly, we saw a mist floating around, inside of what I would call a wall inside the Upside Down, that was causing it to be trapped. This is where the Mind Flayer could have been throughout the entirety of Season 4. When you look closely enough, the original forms of the Shadow Monster tend to appear, such as the long spider-type legs, even though it was surrounded by a mist. We also saw the floating dust and the red glare in the background behind the wall, which is often present when there is a gateway open or when the Mind Flayer has appeared, so I think it could be pointing towards that. We know the Russian scientists have been entering the Upside Down for a while, as they have had their own gateways into the territory, and have managed to capture Demogorgons and learn all about them, and use them for training purposes. The main entity of the Flayer isn't something that has a direct physical form, but this could be something that the Russians managed to obtain whilst they were inside of the Upside Down, the mist that could be at its core. We've not ever seen anything like what Hopper and Murray have laid their eyes upon in the show, so it's definitely something that one would imagine is extremely powerful and could be the core of the Mind Flayer, and explain its absence throughout Season 4 Volume 1. It could have got stuck there when the gate closed. I think it will get out of the box or the window of the Upside Down that it appears to be stuck in, due to the fact that during the teaser trailer it claimed how it's over, how 11 had freed it, and then on the shot where the glass was being looked through by Hopper, it stated, "You can't stop this now." I think this is one of the final forms of the Flayer that we'll see. The core, raw entity itself, not hiding behind the spider monster or a human host, but what it actually is. Pure darkness. We know that the voice wasn't Vecna as well, due to the fact that we've heard Vecna's voice. I think despite Vecna being in the season and a key antagonist, we'll also see the Flayer reveal itself for the first time in its true form in the Upside Down, and highlight just how powerful it is. It controls everything in the Upside Down and is connected to every being or thing that runs through it. I also personally think that the Shadow Monster's classic form will also make a reappearance too. We know that there is a time jump between Season 4 Volume 2 and the Season 5 that will eventually be released. So as we know time is a main key factor that Henry Krill despises, maybe if the group defeat Vecna, it will cause a time jump, leaving the Mind Flayer as the last remaining thing for the group to take down. I'm hoping we'll get to see the Flayer the most that we've ever seen it before, considering we've not got many episodes left before the show finishes for good. It would be really interesting to get to see the being that has been disrupting Hawkins for all of those years. So, there you have it. A theory around if the Mind Flayer is going to be in Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 2. If you want to see more Stranger Things content such as Season 4 Volume 1 explained, or a breakdown of the Volume 2 teaser trailer, then hit on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find a wide array of videos. If you'd like to suggest a TV show or movie that you'd like me to cover, then feel free to head over to my Twitter @brainpilot_ and tweet me what you'd like to see. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate movies that just don't quite make the cut to getting on the channel, then head over to my Letterboxd profile, where I rate and watch in real time. Do you think the Mind Flayer is going to appear in Season 4 Volume 2? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.